Imagine being cut off from your entire family overnight, branded as a monster for something you didn't do. And then, almost a decade later, they suddenly reach out, claiming it was all a mistake. That's my story. I grew up in a quiet town in Vermont, the youngest of 4 kids. My parents worked a lot, but we never struggled. We had a roof, food on the table, and what most people would call a normal, boring American childhood. My 3 older sisters and I were never especially close, but we weren't distant either. Summers meant big family barbecues, Christmas meant road trips to see cousins. It was all predictable, safe, and steady. That normal life ended in 2014. I was 22, in my last year of college, when I got the phone call that shattered everything. At first, I didn't even answer. I was in the middle of a video game with my friends when my mom's name popped up. One missed call. Then immediately another. In my family, 2 calls back-to-back meant one thing. Something serious had happened. When I finally answered, all I heard was chaos. Voices arguing in the background, muffled yelling. My mom's voice came through, trembling and broken, as she asked me a question that didn't even make sense. "Do you have something to confess?" I froze. "What are you talking about?" Through sobs, she accused me of doing something unspeakable to my younger cousin, Emily, years earlier, something I didn't even have the words to respond to. She claimed Emily had told my sister that when she was 9 and I was 16, I had touched her. I hadn't even seen Emily in years at that point. I told my mom it wasn't true. I told her she had to believe me. But she kept pressing, screaming, demanding I admit to something I never did. And then came the sentence that killed the life I knew. "We don't want anything to do with you. Don't ever contact us again." Within hours, my sisters texted me to say I was disgusting. Then they blocked me. My father sent a single message: "Stop contacting us. We need to heal." That was it. I was exiled from my own family, branded guilty without a trial, without even being heard. For weeks after that phone call, I lived in a haze. I could barely eat, barely sleep. Every time someone knocked on my door, I thought it was the police coming to arrest me for something I didn't do. I called and texted everyone, my parents, my sisters, even Emily. Nobody answered. The few who didn't block my number immediately did so after my first message. I was left with silence. I remember standing in the shower one night, the water running down, and thinking, is this how my life ends? Alone, branded as something I'm not. The timing couldn't have been worse. I was supposed to be preparing for my senior thesis defense. Stress was already high, and this broke me completely. The only reason I didn't fail out of college was because my co-writer sensed something was wrong and carried me through. No one from my family came to my graduation. After that, things spiraled. I couldn't land a job. I lived off what little savings I had. I started drinking, taking pills. I stayed inside my crappy apartment, drowning in anger and dark thoughts. Nights were the worst. Instead of sleeping, I sat awake, imagining how I could hurt Emily for what she did to me. I'm not proud of that. But when the world convinces you that you're a monster, your mind starts becoming one. There was one night I smashed a glass against the wall so hard that my neighbor called the cops. When they came, I convinced them it was an accident, and they left. But I knew how close I was to losing it completely. The only thing that saved me was work. In late 2015, I finally landed my first real job in my field. It gave me structure. It gave me something to wake up for. I poured everything into it. Slowly, the drinking lessened. I started rewarding myself with little things on my birthday, a VR headset one year, a motorcycle Lego set the next. Tiny victories that reminded me I was still alive. Last year, I bought a small house. Nothing fancy, just a place with a garage and a little garden. It had been my dream since I was a kid. Planting tomatoes, fixing things in the garage, it gave me a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. But the truth? I was still broken. I've been on antidepressants for years. They help, but not in a happy way. They don't give me joy, they just replace the darkest thoughts with emptiness. My trust in people is gone. I tried dating twice, but both times, I couldn't even explain my family's situation without sounding insane. What was I supposed to say? Oh, my family disowned me because my cousin lied about me being a predator. But trust me, I didn't do it. The only woman I spoke to regularly was my therapist. And even then, it took months before I could tell her the full story. And then, just a few months ago, after almost a decade of silence, I got a text. It was from my mom. At first, I thought it was some kind of scam. I stared at the notification for hours before opening it. When I finally did, I couldn't believe what I was reading. She wrote, "Hi, name. It's been so long since we talked. We miss you and want to know how you're doing. Your sisters are doing well, the kids are growing. You're an uncle now. We love you, always." The next day came another message: "We understand if you don't want to talk to us after what happened, but please listen. Last month at a family gathering, Emily admitted that nothing ever happened. She said she probably just dreamed it. We were all shocked. We realize now how badly we wronged you. We've told everyone the truth. Please, we want to make things right. Love, Mom and Dad." I read it over and over again. My hands were shaking. 10 years of my life, stolen. For a lie. And now, they wanted to talk. When I finished reading my mom's text, I just sat there, staring at the wall. My first thought wasn't joy, or even relief, it was anger. 10 years. 10 years of silence, loneliness, pills, therapy. And now they wanted to waltz back in with, "We're sorry." I didn't reply for days. My phone buzzed constantly, messages from my mom, my dad, even my sisters. They all said the same thing, that they were wrong, that Emily finally confessed, that they wanted to fix things. Finally, after a week, I wrote back just one line. "Why now?" My dad was the one who answered. He asked me to meet him for coffee. I almost didn't go, but curiosity got the better of me. When I walked into that cafe, he stood up so fast his chair nearly toppled over. He looked older, grayer, smaller somehow. For a second, I almost felt pity. Almost. We sat. The silence between us felt like a canyon. Finally, he spoke. "I failed you. I should have believed in you. I should have asked questions instead of turning away. I can't change what happened, but I need you to know, I regret it every single day." I just stared at him. My chest felt heavy. "You all cut me out without even giving me a chance. Do you know what that did to me?" My voice cracked, louder than I meant. Heads turned, but I didn't care. He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I know. And I don't expect forgiveness. I just want the chance to try again. To show you we're not the same people anymore." I left without hugging him. But I didn't block his number. That was progress, I guess. A week later, I agreed to visit my parents' house. Walking through that front door after 10 years felt like stepping into a museum of my old life. My mom cried the moment she saw me. She tried to hug me, but I froze. I couldn't move. I let her, but my body felt stiff, like stone. We sat in the living room, the same place where, a decade ago, my world ended with a single phone call. My sisters were there too, their kids peeking from the hallway. Everyone looked nervous, like I might explode any second. And honestly, I might have. Mom spoke first. We believed her. We didn't want to, but we did. And we threw you away. That was our biggest sin. I clenched my fists. You didn't just throw me away. You destroyed me. You let me rot alone. You let me become a ghost. No one spoke. Just tears. Then, from the corner, Emily stepped forward. I hadn't even noticed she was there until that moment. My stomach dropped. She looked different, older, but not wiser. Her eyes darted around, avoiding mine. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry." Something inside me snapped. Sorry. You ruined my life. You made me hate myself. You made me want to die. Do you even understand what you did? She stammered something about therapy, false memories, confusion. I didn't hear it. I walked out. My dad followed me to the driveway, begging me to come back, but I couldn't. Not then. That night, I sat in my car, staring at the house I grew up in, and I realized something important. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about me. I don't owe Emily anything. I don't owe my family instant trust. But maybe, for my own peace, I can start small. A text here, a coffee there. Boundaries strong and clear. The past is gone. The scars are permanent. But I'm still here. Still breathing. Still building. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Family can betray you, people can abandon you, but your survival depends on one person only, yourself. And if you can rebuild once, you can rebuild again.